All right, folks. All right. I hope you was able to run to the bathroom and do whatever it is you need to do. And we're going to move forward just a little bit. So I'm going to, I want you, hopefully, because when we actually come back, I'm going to go through and probably do like about 15 minutes worth of questions. So if you start preparing some of your questions that you may have relative to just what we're talking about just on this morning up until this point. Hopefully you're getting this information, and some of this stuff is like may be flying over your head. Some of the stuff may seem like, what's all that? Bottom line is, guys, at some point in time, you need to at least get a working knowledge of what we're going through this morning, because this is what it's about. This is what it is about. It's about you being able to keep more money in your pocket. Keep money in your pocket. That's the name of the game. And that's how what we call the big boys, that's how they play the game. So let's move on with a little bit more into the limited liability companies. And so with a limited liability company, guys, the members are protected. All right, so the members are protected from a liability purpose. All right, in an LLC, the owners are referred to as members. All right, and the law states that no member is personally liable for the obligations of the LLC. So in other words, if you had like a FedEx driver that slipped on property owned by your company, right, then the company members would have protection against that. All right, that's called inside liability. So we got to have liability protection. Doesn't do you good. There are some entities that you can set up that don't offer you all the liability protection that you need. So you need to make sure that you have a company that sets up inside as well as outside liability for protection for you. So inside liability, this is what it looks like. All right. You got a FedEx person comes, delivers packages to your house and suffers injury when he slips on your moss-covered steps. All right, your property caused his accident, and that could result in you being sued. So that could create some jeopardy for you with the properties you have in your company. But if you have your LLC set up properly, then it's limited to what happened on your personal activity. Doesn't go over to your company, all right? Outside liability, all right, is the risk that comes from somebody doing something outside. In the example here, it says you have a kid that goes out and pulls a friend of his behind him in a four-wheeler, right? Person falls off and gets injured, right? And now you're personally liable in the lawsuit, all right? That's outside liability. If you don't have your corporation set up properly and you didn't have outside liability, then perhaps they could pierce through your company, and now they're able to get to your company assets, which this activity had nothing to do with your business. So that's why it's important to make sure that you set up entities that are structured properly so that you get the highest and best use, and that you actually have something that actually protects you guys. What I'm trying to tell you is this, is that I've seen so many individuals that were doing really, really well in this real estate business. And I've seen individuals get sued or what have you, and everything just get destroyed. And it's nothing like being sued to let you know what you should have thought you should have known. All right, I'm sitting here right here with these documents. And so I'm telling you, not from what I heard, okay? We ain't talking about what I heard. I'm telling you about what I know. Because this nice, thick, juicy book worth of paper is on yours truly. This was a lawsuit served on me and my company. So I'm not talking from what I heard, like I said. And guys, let me tell you, when you get one of these, and we'll get into this tomorrow, I don't want to get into it right now because it'll get me all upset, and we'll probably have to call it a day because I get upset all over again. But if you're in this business, it's not just a matter of what is or when, it's or not just a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Because this knock on wood, is going to come knocking on your door. So that's why you need to be ready. I don't care how good you are. I don't care how much you can walk around and say, ain't nobody bad like me. This right here will let somebody come see just how bad you are. All right? And let me tell you guys, when you get one of these, your life will change. We've been fortunate or blessed enough to have 4 of these now. 4 of them. Get my first one. I kept hearing about it. Go to all the asset protection classes. I kept hearing about it. And it finally came my way. Okay? And then turn around. So it took me all that time. It took me 11 years to get my first one. And then turn around and got 3 more in much less time than that. Came out on top or came out well in every one of them. We'll talk about that stuff later. But the bottom line is it will come knocking at your door. So you want to be prepared. And there's nothing like, see, when you get one of these guys, you think you're cool and all that good stuff. You lose all your cool points, right? Because when I got this and had to sign for that certified mail, I was sitting there shaking as I was reading it, because this thing made me out to be the biggest bandit that ever walked the earth. And about the time I got through, guys, I had to go to the bathroom. All right? So you don't want to be in that situation. Okay? You don't want to have to go to the bathroom. Because this right here, I'm going to tell you right now, is the best weight reduction program that they got. And if you don't want to lose weight, if you ain't got no planned weight reduction program, I'll tell you right now, you get you one of these. Forget about Jenny Craig and all the rest of that stuff. You're going to be straight, all right? But we're going to try to set up something to make sure you're set up properly. So if you do get one of these, okay, because like I said, it doesn't matter. You don't have to be doing anything wrong, okay? Somebody just made or alleged that you mistreated them or whatever, okay? Come back and do something. You can sell somebody a house, and then they discover something 2 years away, right? And decide that they thought you covered it up. So they want to sue you. So you want to be straight when that happens, or if that happens, all right? Management structures in the LLC. Let's go back to LLC. Management structures in the LLC. LLCs can be managed 2 different ways, guys. They're either member managed or manager managed. Difference is self-evident. A member managed LLC is one in which all of the members have a say-so. All the members participate in the management of the LLC. All right. I hate member managed LLCs in most cases, because most of the time when you're doing, and most attorneys will set these up for you just like that. They don't ask you no questions. So they'll set up, when you get a member managed LLC, everybody has to, a lot of times, everybody has to sign documentation if you don't have your operating agreement, which we'll talk about later, if you don't have your operating agreement set up accordingly. So you go to the bank to get some finance and do a bank loan, they want all the members of the LLC to come sign some paper. You don't want to do that, all right? So, and all the members have to vote in accordance with their share of ownership of the LLC on what happens in the LLC, unless you appoint someone to do that through your operating agreement. A manager managed LLC is one in which the LLC members turn over control to one or more managers, okay? One or more managers. So you have one individual that may not even be an active member of the company, but you have that person as the manager of the company. And that person pretty much calls and oversees the company, takes care of all the company business, signs on behalf of the organization. All right. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to just say this real quick. When I said signs on behalf of the organization, when you have a company or a business, one thing I want to make sure of, guys, you want to clearly distinguish between you being personal, you personally, and the business. So when you sign for stuff, listen to this. I want you to listen to me and hear me closely, because this may seem like a bunch of junk, may not seem that important, but it is. When you sign on behalf of your organization, that's what you make sure you do. So you see on this, if you see this signatory block on here, it says Cash Flow Properties LLC by Mary Johnson as member manager. So Mary Johnson is signing not personally, but she's signing as the managing member of that company. Okay, if you see the one below that, it says Johnny Investor as member of ABC Residential Properties LLC, trustee of number Greater Cherokee Estates Trust, dated 8/12/2016. Okay, so that person is signing as a member of the LLC who is the trustee of a trust. And that's how you sign. If you just put your name on a piece of paper, then there can be cases where some attorney will be trying to say that you acted personally because you signed on your own. So you want to make sure that if there's no signature block on that document when they tell you to sign HUD statement or settlement statement or whatever, you sign on there. You make your own signature block. John Smith as member, ABC Properties LLC. And let them sit there, because I can tell you when I go to closing sometimes, if that stuff ain't on the document, I'm sitting there writing, and everybody's sitting there getting impatient because I'm writing that block in there. I don't care how long you got to wait. You're just going to have to wait, bud, because I'm not signing personally. Y'all got me? So we're going to, what I want to do now is, definitely, because, we went into time. We're still going to continue on, still not going to miss any time. But what I'm going to do, guys, is we're going to take, this is going to be lunch for you. I guess most of you, we're only going to take an hour. So hour, 15 minutes. Most of you are already at home. You're sitting there, you got your snacks and whatever. What we're going to do is I'm going to put on something for you. If you miss this, you're going to miss some major nuggets. I don't care. I know you got something up to this point. We ain't got to all the juicy stuff yet. We still got a lot of stuff to go. We just getting broke down. But I'm going to have them, this is a special bonus treat right now. So if you get up and you leave, I'm going to tell you, they're going to start playing. And I can tell you right now, you do what you want to do, but you better stay tuned in to what's about to happen right now. So roll it, Dave. Guys, you're going to watch this. You want to be looking. He's going to pull up. And as he's getting that up, just going to tell you, you're going to find out some things in this little segment that's going to come up. We're going to play a little segment for you. And again, you probably can sit there on your couch or whatever you're doing and do your thing as we get ready to roll the tape. Don't go nowhere. You're going to miss something. And send me an offering. I want my offering. You're going to give me an offering. Let's go. All right. Everybody good? Anybody pick up anything this morning? Up to this point? Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. So I'm going to finish up talking about entities. And what I want you to do is still reflect on, each and every one of you respectively knows where you fall in regards to this chart, what your tax bracket is. Okay. Now, truth be told, the tax bracket is less, guys, because they lower the tax rate significantly for a lot of folks. Okay, but still it ain't right. Okay, so I'm gonna show you how to make it right. So look at where you are, and what I want you to think about for those of you that are wholesaling deals, or if you actually have, you also are employed right now. So you know how much employment income you make and where you fall in regards to that tax bracket. Now you're bringing in other income from your wholesale opportunities, which is treated as ordinary income, okay? And paying capital gains tax and all this stuff. Ordinary income. And that adds to your overall income, so you keep moving up the ladder, okay? So what I want you to understand, and right now, for those of you, if you're following along in the book, just for reference parts, we're up on about page 11. Yeah, so we're on about page 11 in the book. So what I want to do is go back and we're going to look back at these corporations. So we talked about the C corporation, and I said that there's no passive activity loss limitations unless you're a personal service corporation or a closely held corporation. And y'all say, like, what the heck is that man up there talking about? I'm going to explain those to you here, okay? But the most important part of what that statement says is PAL, passive activity loss limitations. I want y'all to understand something. And all you guys that have properties, you need to listen to me very closely right now where I'm at. Because if you listen to me, you're going to go back and fix some stuff. And when you fix some stuff, you're going to make a whole bunch more money. You're going to save a whole bunch more money in taxes. Let me tell you why. The IRS for tax purposes, guys, and the government for tax purposes treat what we do as a hobby. Real estate in their mind is considered like a hobby activity. So what they came up with is what they call passive loss rules, passive activity loss rules. Now, what are passive activity loss rules? And why do we have passive activity loss limitations? Everyone in here, how many people in here aspire to eventually be a real estate investor, and this is all you do, right? You want to be a real estate investor full time, okay? Most of us, okay? Now, if you say you're a wholesaler, let me just tell you something, guys. You ain't no daggone wholesaler. You're still a real estate investor, or you're a real estate service provider. I like to say real estate service provider. I don't like to say real estate investor, because real estate investor, for all practical purposes, has a negative connotation to it. It does. You know, I hear some people like to say, you know, let's get this straight first. First of all, wholesaling is just a strategy. It's an exit strategy of real estate investment. So you say, I'm a wholesaler. No, you're a real estate investor, but I would prefer you say, you might want to get grooming yourself into saying, I'm a real estate service provider. Well, we're a real estate service provider, and we buy and sell houses in our local community, whatever you say. Real estate service provider, guys, because when you say you're a real estate investor, it does have a negative connotation to it. A lot of people, as soon as you say a real estate investor, then they think you come in to try to steal their house. They see you as somebody preying on people, trying to take advantage of folks, okay? And that's one of the things as real estate investors that we have to overcome all the time. And we're going to get into that tomorrow when we get into the subject 2 part. Because one of the obstacles that we always have to overcome when we're dealing with sellers, particularly in single family residential homes, is the fact that when we hit the door, they already have a negative perception of us. They already think or have heard that you're getting ready to come over there and try to tell them you're going to give them $50,000 for their $200,000 house. That's the expectation. So when you hit the door, their guard is up. You have to remember something when you're dealing with people. Number one, most people's homes are the biggest investment asset that they're ever going to purchase in their life. And most individuals, unlike us, may only purchase 1 or 2 houses in a whole lifetime. So one of the things that they have to overcome is, number one, is that the fear I'm going to make a mistake. That's what you're dealing with as a real estate investor. The fear that I'm going to make a mistake. I know this rascal coming through this door, he's slick, and he's going to be done, took my house some kind of way. So I got to put my guard up, right? That's what they're expecting. I'm expecting, hey, I saw that We Buy Houses sign, and I heard about them rascals. They take advantage of you. You know, like you can just run in there and throw the house in the back of your bag and run out. No, it don't work like that. But so what I'm telling you is that going back to where I was speaking on is that you want to be, and write this down so you can remember, because you're going to need to go talk to your tax preparer on this, okay? Especially those of you that have single family homes, you're building a portfolio of properties. You know, you heard me speaking. I always say that when you're playing this game of Monopoly, guys, what you're building is you don't worry about what the global economy is. You're not worried about what everybody's talking about. You're not worried about what Susie Orman said, what Warren Buffett said. You know, I remember probably about back in 2011 sometime, I was watching MSNBC or something one morning, and Susie Orman was on there yik-yakking, and she said, the market, I don't believe, has hit rock bottom yet. I wouldn't recommend anybody buying houses at least for the next 3 years. I'm glad she said that and scared some people, okay? Because she was sitting up there talking, she knows what she's talking about, as far as I was concerned, as much credentials as she's supposed to have. Real estate, guys, I want you to understand, real estate is cyclical, meaning it goes in cycles. It goes up and down, okay? Real estate is also local. Real estate is local if you're local, unless you're investing somewhere else. So you're not worried about when you're building your economy. I tell people what you're putting on your board represents your micro economy in this business. The economy that you control. We're not talking about the macro economy. Macro meaning what's going on from California to New York and everywhere in between. We're talking about what you can control right in your neighborhood, right in your backyard, wherever you decided to invest. Because the thing I'm talking about with these houses is, again, when you're dealing with these houses, everything you put on that board right there represents your economy. That's the economy that you're building. That's my stuff right there. And I can control it. I can raise rents. I can lower rents. I can take a property and owner finance it and be the bank because we bought the property at a significant discount. I can sell it cheap because I bought it cheap. You know what I'm saying? Because we're not out buying $100,000 houses or $200,000 houses for market value. So if we're buying a $100,000 house, typically we're buying what? 55, 65% of value, 70% of value, typically max as an investor. There's some situations where we're going to go outside of those parameters, but that's typically how we're buying properties. So if you have a slight dip in the market and the market loses 5, 8, 10%, you're still good, okay? Because you bought good, all right? And we're going to talk about this in particular tomorrow because we're going to talk about the subject to process of how to buy property subject to the existing financing. And I'm going to talk about on tomorrow that just because somebody wants to sell you their house and you're able to take over the payments, that don't necessarily mean that that's a good deal for you. It still has to make good practical business sense. You follow? Okay, so I want you to understand this. I told you, I want you to write this down. Real estate professional. I want you to research it. I want you to know what it means, what it is. Because if you don't know what it means, what it is, go ahead and pack your stuff up and go on back home because you're not trying to be serious about your business and what you're doing. Point blank. Real estate professional, that has significance in this business. The reason it has significance in this business, guys, is because, like I said previously, the IRS considers what we do. I don't care if you have 50 houses, 60 houses, or whatever it is, the IRS considers it a passive activity. And passive activities are subject to passive activity loss rules and limitations. And what those rules are their rules that they came up with. So basically, guys, what the IRS did back in the 80s, they came up with these passive loss rules because rich, affluent folks found out that there was a gold mine in real estate investment in the fact that you could go out and buy properties and not even have investment intent, but start making all kind of claims for all kind of deductions. Did everybody just get what I just said? So what people would do is, if I got a bunch of money and let me go buy some houses in Florida, let me go buy some houses in California, buy some houses all over the place, and I had no investment intent. I don't care if the house just sits out there and we just sweep it up once a year. So nobody, I'm serious, nobody, there might not even be nobody living in the house. They just bought the houses so they could get the tax breaks. So the government got wise to that and said, no, you're gonna have to have some investment intent. You're gonna have to wanna do something. This has to be something. You're trying to make some money. You're trying to make some profit on this. So what they did was they came up with what they call material participation rules. So if you are in this business and you claiming that you want to get all these write-offs, then you have to actually materially participate in the business, meaning that you are actively in the day-to-day activities of the business, engaged in something to profit in real estate. Not that you just bought some house. Even if, now, I'm gonna tell you something, if you own properties as a landlord and you let somebody manage your properties for you, and you just sit in your office at your desk at work and you got a property manager handling all your business, you might not be able to claim a real estate professional because you're not actually materially participating in your business. So what happens is if you're not materially participating in your business, your losses are limited to $25,000 of deductible losses per year. You hear what I said? $25,000. Now, I'm going to mess you up because what I want you to understand is that when you own real estate, and y'all I would suggest if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about right now, one thing I would suggest is you get that book I have out there, that multiple streams of income book, because it'll explain this stuff to you and explains exactly what I'm talking about. And I ain't trying to sell you nothing. I'm just trying to tell you something. This thing, it will show you. See if I can. All right. So I want you to understand something when you're in this business. This is my multiple streams of income. This is my stuff right here, y'all. I don't know nobody present this part like this. This is me. This is how I do business. I do business with a multiple streams of approach to doing this real estate business. I want you to understand something. I don't care what you call yourself, a wholesaler, flipper, or whatever it is. You're engaged in the business and conduct of buying properties. And what you want to do is, when you're marketing, deal machining, prop streaming, whatever it is you're doing, you getting deals that fit any and all of those boxes. You know what I'm saying? You out here land gliding people's houses, you're getting deals that fit into any or all of those boxes. Some of us, you have a strategy and all you're focused on, or all you may be focused on, come on. All you may be focused on is this part right here, wholesales and assigns. If all you do is wholesales and assigns, then Uncle Sam is a not so silent partner in your business. I want you to understand that. He's smiling just as much as you smiling. Ain't do no work, ain't put out not one bandit sign, ain't sent out a mailer, ain't sent out no skip trace, ain't did no skip trace, and ain't help you put in, he didn't put a dime of investment money into what you getting, but he getting his cut, okay? And he gonna get his cut, okay? And so what I'm trying to tell you is that everything, this is my business model. Everything that I do revolves around this, and there's some hybrids of this. So there's some little boxes that you don't see on here of other things that I do, but this is the primary focus of what I'm doing. I'm doing lease options, I'm doing rentals. And so all that stuff gives you tax benefits. It helps you build your economy. Remember what I said, you're trying to put something on your board, reflective of you playing the game. When nothing is on your board, you can't tell me you real estate investing, I don't see nothing on your board. Show me your board. Show me your board. Huh? Every time you get a house, you put a house on there and your board's empty. Now we came in here, the monopoly board was just set up out here, and you didn't see not one house or nothing on this board. You wouldn't think nobody was playing. Would you think somebody was playing? Because the board look like what? It's in P, it's in Park. Right? But when you see those houses on there, you see some money, somebody playing this game. You need to look like you playing this game. You need to look like you playing this game. I don't care what you do. Wholesaling could be, wholesaling assignments and flips could be your primary business practice. That's where I'm making my bread and butter money. But that right side of the board, that you see that right side, that schematic right there? That right side is your wealth building component of this business. You get wealthy by what you own. Yeah, you can make a lot of money flipping properties and doing all that, but you get wealthy by what you own. Okay? You get wealthy by what you own. The other thing is what you own helps you with Uncle Sam. What you own keeps you wealthy, because the only thing you're doing on this side is Uncle Sam smiling just as much as you are. Okay? So again, there you go. Left side, Uncle Sam, silent partner. See him grinning, got you upside down, shaking money out your pockets. That's what you're doing when that's all you do is wholesale on the sign. Because the more you do, the higher your tax bracket goes. And the next thing you know, forget about those tax brackets that I showed you earlier, because that's not the real deal. That's not the end of the story. We're going to talk about the whole story, the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So help you God. You're going to get all of it. Because see, what you need to understand is that 24% or wherever you put yourself, that's not the end of the story. Because there's some other stuff that comes along with it. Anybody ever heard of FICA? That's the thing you look down there on your when you get your pay stub every month. For some of you that's working, and yes, some of y'all, you know, y'all can say them words. Who the F is this? FICA, who's that? Taking all my money. Well, FICA taking your money. Right? You saying who to what? Huh? What's going on? FICA's taking your money. Well, understand something, and I'm going to get into this a little bit deeper, but when you're self-employed, don't think FICA just left. Don't think because got it called in this morning or got in there this afternoon, say, hey, I'm giving y'all my 2-week notice. I went to the Tony Robbins seminar this weekend. Don't think when you walked out of there that FICA stopped, because there's a new FICA card for you coming next. It's called self-employment tax. Okay? Self-employment tax took the place of FICA. Okay? And the thing about FICA is that you contribute half, your employer contribute the other half. Did y'all know that? So when you get to hiring employees, you'll find out it's not the end of the story. So you bring somebody in your office and you want to pay them $12 an hour and you set up your payroll, you'll find out that you ain't just paying them $12 an hour, because you're paying into their Social Security, their Medicare, and everything else. Okay? So that $12 an hour employee might be costing you about $19, $20 an hour overall. See, some of us don't know that stuff. See, because you're paying half of that FICA for them. They're paying the other half. So your employer is contributing to that. Okay? So when you look at this stuff, guys, going back to my point, everything on that left side represents tax consequences. Uncle Sam is a not so silent partner in your business. You got the shakedown going on. Everything on that right side, all of those rentals, doing lease options and all of that stuff is tax savings. Y'all follow me? That's tax savings. That's the wealth building component. And so I want you to understand this, and all of this, everything I'm talking about deals with asset protection, because if all your money going out the window, that's part of your assets. Okay? So everything on that right side represents wealth building. So when I'm holding a portfolio of properties, I get what's called depreciation. If you ain't never thought about that, I want you to write it down. Some of you've heard me speak before. You heard me say this. But depreciation, you get depreciation write-offs. Depreciation write-offs are a phantom expense. They're not real. Listen to what I just said. They're not real. They're not real. So what is a depreciation write-off? Let's just, for example, let's say you bought a house for $100,000. Okay? You bought a house for $100,000. That's your basis in the house because you paid $100,000 for it. That's the money you put into it. Unless you made some improvements, the house is $100,000. If you go to your tax card, and the tax card says that, you know, when you go and you look up on your tax card, it says what the land value is and what the building value is or the dwelling value is. Let's just say that the land value is $20,000. And the building value is $80,000. That's my $100,000, right? 80 and 20 make 100. Technically, you can't depreciate land because land is non-depreciable, but you can depreciate the building. I want y'all to stay with me because when you get this, if you ever get this and the light bulb fully goes off, you're gonna get rich. Y'all ready? I want you to pull your calculators out if you got them, or pull your phones out. I want you to take 80,000 and divide it by 27.5 because the depreciation factor is 27.5 years on single family residential homes. And while y'all are calculating, it's going to be $2,909.09 a year. Okay? $2,909.09 a year. So basically, let's just say $3,000. So every year that we own that house, the government says that for each year I own this house, I get to write off $3,000 a year just for owning it. Because they're saying that that house is going down in value, okay? And they're giving us a tax benefit as home providers, right? Right? They're giving us a tax break for it. They want to give us something, you know, because the government can't house everybody, so they give the landlord something, right? So you're getting this benefit of having this depreciation write-off. So you know every year that you own that house for as long as you own it 27.5 years, I can count January 1, I can say $3,000 is negative. Stay with me, because this is a good part. Let's just say simple math. You're renting that house for $800 a month. Okay? Your mortgage payment on the house, because you got a mortgage on it, your mortgage is $600 a month. How much money we making a month? We're making $200 a month positive cash flow, correct? $200 a month times 12 is how much? Huh? 2,400. So we know, guys, let's do it. So I want to make sure it's plain because I want you to start doing this stuff. You know that you put 2,400 real dollars in your pocket. Everybody still with me? You know that as it pertains to that one house, if I can put myself back together again. Out. He's got you. All right. Okay. So you know that you put 2,400 real smackaroos in your pocket. Everybody still with me? You know, as it pertains to that house, I made $2,400. I put $2,400 in my pocket or in my bank account. On paper, as it pertains to that one house, once you remember this, as it pertains to that one house, I said that we lost how much money? $3,000 just in depreciation, right? So we had a $3,000 loss in depreciation. I said we had a $3,000 loss in depreciation. I'm not talking about any repairs we made. I'm not talking about any interest we paid on the mortgage. I'm not talking about any taxes we paid on the property taxes, anything like that. I'm talking about just the depreciation alone, which is a phantom ghost expense. It's not real. You lost $3,000. On paper, it's a paper loss, okay? But you put $2,400 in your pocket. From a tax perspective, you're negative $600. I want you to write that on paper. Write a big 600, negative $600. So you're negative $600 on paper. If I'm negative $600 on paper, how much am I have to pay taxes? Somebody say something. If I'm negative $600 on paper, how much do I have to pay in taxes? Say it loud enough. Zero, my hero, right? Do you want to be a star? Y'all remember back in the day? So zero, you're negative $600 on paper. So you pay zero in taxes. See, so that wasn't big enough for y'all. So let's do this. Multiply that same scenario times 10. You put 24,000 real greenbacks in your pocket. Deshaun, I'll put you in timeout. All right. So you made $24,000, right? But on paper, negative, you had a $30,000 loss. So you're negative $6,000 on paper. So if I'm negative $6,000 on paper, how much I'm gonna have to pay in taxes? Zero, my hero again. Y'all gonna get it in a minute. It's gonna register. See, all of this is worth the price of admission. I can close down. You can turn me off, J-Rock. I'm done. Because if you just get this, you're gonna understand something that's gonna make you rich. I ain't talking about giving the man or giving somebody else the ability to have what you worked hard to acquire through your marketing because you wholesaled everything that came your way. I'm talking about you getting in the game. If you multiply what I just told you times 100 properties, and I can tell you I'm well above that. So if you multiply that times 100, so if you say I got 100 houses, okay, and we talking real money now. See, eyeballs will get a little bigger now. We put 240 real $1,000 in our pocket. But from a tax perspective, we're negative $300,000, which ultimately in effect means that we're negative what? $60,000 on paper. So we're negative $60,000 on paper, and we put 240,000 real smackaroos in our pocket. How much money we got to pay in taxes? Woo! I'm getting happy myself. Do y'all get what I'm saying? Do y'all get what I'm saying? Did you hear what I just said? I said that you took more than $250,000 and put it in your pocket and was spending it up. Some of y'all's out there making it rain and do everything else. Y'all know y'all do. You was out there. It's on me. You walked in there and said it's on me. Well, it was on you because you didn't pay no taxes on that money. Did y'all just see what I just said? And that's the difference between putting something in here and not. That's the difference between putting something in here or not. That's the difference between investing in your education and not. Because what I said earlier, you don't know what you don't know and you can't do what you can't do. And like I said, again, what I say from the beginning, if you think education is expensive, try ignorance. If you think education is expensive, try ignorance. Because you didn't know that, you're not getting the benefit of that. Did y'all hear what I just said? You took $250,000 worth of income and don't pay a dime of taxes, just walking around here ain't paying nothing. And ask me how I know, because I walk around a lot like that, don't pay nothing. That's my wife back there. We ain't paying nothing. Putting money in there. And see, when you work this business, when you work this stuff like I'm talking about, see, what you learn how to do, instead of letting money work you, you work the money. See, what I'm doing is we got a faucet over there. Y'all hear what I just said? A faucet. It can drip, drip, drip. There you go. It can drip, drip, drip. So I can turn the faucet on low, or I can turn it on high. Y'all follow what I'm saying? I can turn it on low, or I can turn it on high. Because what I'm doing is I'm in the business. See, you ain't in business. Because see, I'm in the business and I got tax planning, and I got business planning, and I got operations planning. I know what's going on. I'm not going to find out on April 15th next year that my CPA is telling me I got to bring in $20,000 because you did no tax planning, because you just run around here just buying houses and selling houses with no care. But when you have actual planning and you're working with a tax preparer versus a tax strategist, right? Then you're in business. Okay? So then this is how you make a boatload of money. You make a boatload of money and not paying nobody anything. And you walk around looking like this guy. And we ain't got to talk no junk, but you walk around like this. You walking around like that. Now, we don't have to get into politics, but you know, they said that Donald Trump had a decade in the red. Okay, this is New York Times, May 2019. Decade. Show over $1 billion worth of losses, almost losing $250 million a year in some cases. On paper, y'all can get mad, we can get mad. But see, most of what he's doing is legal. Hallelujah, because I'm doing it. Okay, so what I'm trying to tell you is that we can get mad, but don't get mad. Put something in your ears and learn what these people are doing. When Mitt Romney was running for president, everybody was raising sand, talking about his taxes. He showed his taxes. And what they found out was that his average tax, his effective tax, was 14%. He's paying 14% tax. This was before the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act that we got now. He was making millions of dollars, paying 14%. You making $80,000 and paying 22%, huh? See? That's the difference between putting stuff in your head. Now, going back, you said all this to say what? You see all them buildings back behind, them buildings back there, them Trump towers and all that stuff? How much depreciation you think he get for one of them Trump towers? Woo! Can you imagine? Now, I'm gonna mess your head up one more. If you're around me, and like my mastermind students, the guys that work with me, they know. See, because I'm on them about this all the time. I just told y'all, I gave you an illustration where I said that each one of those houses were contributing about a $3,000 a year loss, right? Because when I gave you that example a few minutes ago, I said what? I said land was non-depreciable. Is that what I said? So I said that you could depreciate the building over 27 and a half years, which gave you the $3,000, but the land is non-depreciable. Now I'm gonna tell you something, you write this down. And this is the end of the day, because y'all have got enough out of me already. I want you to understand this. Land is non-depreciable. And that's what your old sorry CPA and accountant and bookkeeper is going to tell you. Because when you hand him your taxes, because you don't know no better, he's going to sit there just like I just did. He's going to say, okay, well, you bought it for this, 27 and a half years, you get $3,000, next property. He's going to go to the next property. But when you know what you know, and you can stand up and say, ain't nobody bad like me. See, when you fill your stuff out, then what you're going to tell him is this. No, you're right, Mr. CPA. Land is not depreciable, but land improvements are. And because land improvements are depreciable, I get to get some more depreciation for that. So when we start talking about land improvements, what are land improvements? Land improvements would be like the driveway to the house, the sidewalk to the house, the grass, because it didn't just get there by itself, the sewer, all right, the bushes, the trees, all that stuff. So what I want you to understand is this, guys, by the time you finish, the fence, okay, if you went and you had big rocks in the yard and your landscape, all that stuff costs money. If you bought the house and you had it built, all that, none of that stuff was there, you put it there. But because you inherited, it still has value. So what I'm saying, if you bought the house, it still has a value. So now what I'm going to do is I had $20,000 worth of non-depreciable land. So said my accountant. But I'm going to say that the bushes and trees, if I had to replace all these bushes and trees, y'all write this down. Bushes and trees, $5,000. Bam. My driveway, if I had to replace my driveway, $5,000. The sidewalk that comes from my driveway to my front doorstep, $1,500. The patio out back, $2,500. Y'all keep writing. Okay, I want y'all to add that up right there. Just add out what I gave you. Somebody with a calculator, add it up real quick and tell me what it is. How much? $14,000. Now I want you to look at me, pay attention. $14,000 worth of land improvements. Y'all hear what I just said? Matter of fact, we're gonna do one different. We're gonna throw one more. It's a big tree back there, $1,000 tree right there. Put one more tree down there. That's right. Put one more tree on there. So now we got one more tree. So how much we at? We at $15,000, right? We got $15,000 of land improvements. Okay. Land improvements are depreciated over 15 years. So you divide 15 into 15,000, how much we got? $1,000 a year, right? We just added $1,000 to the $3,000 we already had. So now we got $4,000 worth of depreciation on that one house. You got me? Guys, I ain't even getting started. Because see, I could go in that house. See, I could take that $80,000 and go inside that house, and I could say that carpet bedroom 1, carpet bedroom 2, carpet bedroom 3, the carpet in the living room. So $1,000 worth of carpet in the bedroom, $1,500 worth of carpet in the living room. The hallway has carpet, $2,000. The downstairs den has carpet, $2,500. And so what I'm going to do is what I'm doing now is I'm breaking all of that stuff down inside that house. And when I come up with that number, let's just say I come up with $10,000 more just because I broke stuff down inside the house. You can divide that by 5 because that's called personal property. Personal property is depreciated over 5 years. So personal property would also include like the appliances, the stove, the refrigerator, the dishwasher, and all that good stuff. So when you break all that stuff out, now what I have is, what did I say? I said $10,000. So $10,000 divided by 5 is what? Huh? $2,000. So I just added $2 more thousand to my depreciation. Did y'all see what I just did? Now it's going to lessen my building because I got to take that stuff away from the building, but I got to expedite it because I got 5 years worth of depreciation. So I could take that same scenario that your sorry, no good tax preparer is doing for you, right? Where he just gave you $3,000. I would take that same situation. When I get done, maybe you're getting $6,000. So that one house is, so what I tell people, you see that bucket in the middle? I call that my depreciation bucket, guys. So every time I get a house, y'all just see this, I'm sitting here shooting jump shots. I'm contributing to my depreciation bucket. Y'all laughing. I'm throwing down in this depreciation bucket because what I'm doing is I'm making that depreciation bucket so big. I'm trying to grow that thing. Y'all follow me? I'm growing that depreciation bucket. And when I get that depreciation bucket so big, this is what's going to happen. I want you to understand this. Then you can go back to doing whatever you want to do. When I made that depreciation bucket, which side is that depreciation bucket on? The right side, right? Which side depreciation bucket on? Depreciation bucket's on the right side. So when I make that depreciation bucket so big, because I'm focusing on a business, I ain't focusing on foolishness, I'm focusing on a business. So when I make that depreciation bucket so big, so let's just say I get my depreciation bucket $700,000. I got $700,000 worth of depreciation a year. Did y'all hear what I just said? $700,000 just in depreciation. I can tell you somebody that got more than that in depreciation. Right here. I want you to understand this. If I got $700,000 worth of depreciation, you know what that means? That means that I can go out here on that left side over there. I can go over here and sell. I can go over there and sell $700,000 worth of houses. No taxes. Did y'all hear what I just said? While you worried about, oh, I need to do a 1031 exchange. I need to do this, I need to do that. I ain't doing nothing. But keeping Uncle Samson smiling as much as I am. Baby, take the offering plate and pass this around. I need some people to contribute to the offering bucket. That was worth price admission right there. But this is the problem that you're going to have. This is the problem you're going to encounter. See, some of you looking at me like, he's full of junk. That's real. That stuff is real. That stuff is real. What you put on this board will keep you from paying taxes and keep money in your pocket. Remember when I said earlier, I said something about the faucet, like turning on the faucet? See, when you know what you're doing on your left side and your right side, then everything you do, you know what you're doing. So I'm sitting here, I'm saying, okay, well, I'm doing this on the right side. That means I can do this. Let me turn on, drip, drip, drip. Matter of fact, I'm gonna do like the matter of fact, right now, I feel real good where I'm at. I'm gonna go out there. Y'all know how sometimes when you're in the city and the fire department come out there and they just turn the water on, huh? And you got water gushing out there like, see, I'm gonna just go ahead right now. I'm just ready. I'm gonna turn it on. And see, so when you do this, when you do it like that, then what happens is this, guys. Ain't nobody excited yet? I'm excited. I get excited about this stuff. Just a second. I'm gonna go out and come back. Hold on a second over there. Just a second, J Rock. I want to put something on here. While my wife and I were, if y'all saw us riding horses a few weeks ago, we was out riding horses in Texas. When we was riding horses in Texas, guess what? We was getting a $74,000 check back at the joint, right? That's why I could ride. I was leaning on him. See, because I turned the faucet on. And guess what? When I turned the faucet on, it got even sweeter to come back and say, you know what? We just got almost $75,000 check. Ow! I'm trying to tell you, But it's about what you know, guys. You got to put something in your head. Don't look, when somebody come up in here, I ain't being disrespectful to nobody. I'm gonna tell you, I hear people crying the blues about trying to spend some money. If you don't think that what you're gonna get out of here is worth $1,000, boy, I'm gonna tell you, how much money you gonna make? Because you know. I'm trying to tell you something. Put something in between your head. Everybody I talk to, you know if I'm talking, I'm gonna tell you, hey, are you putting something in between your head? You go out here and do a deal, you got $10,000 assignment fee or $20,000, take $2,000, go find somebody. I don't care who, find somebody that can put something in your head. Don't be afraid to pay somebody to get you where they're at in an expedited manner. What does it cost you guys? I tell people all the time, I'm retired military, jumping out of airplanes, bumped my head a few times. So you think I'm crazy. And in the middle, so we might be jumping out of airplanes. We might jump out in the middle of the night. You don't have nothing. You don't see nothing. There's no illumination. So you're coming down and you hit the ground and you policing up all your gear. And when you take off, they gave you what they call some grid coordinates for some of you military people. You know where you're supposed to go. You know where there's an assembly point. The only way you're going to get there is they gave you a compass. Okay? And that compass points north, south, east, and west. Y'all hear what I'm saying? I said that the compass points north, south, east, and west. But that compass is totally irrelevant if you don't know where the heck you're going. Did y'all just hear what I'm saying? Get some daggone direction. You can be pointing north, south, east, and west and don't know where you're going. It means nothing. Where you going? I'm going north. And run into a ravine or a creek, run into a big mountain. You went north for what? You still need to know where you're going. So make a point to do something, get a business plan and get some direction in your business. Get formatted, get your stuff together, get organized so that you can profit. And be willing, like I said, if you got to spend some money to get there, spend a little bit of money because in the long run, you're going to get it all back. Okay, so passive activity loss rules, going back to that again. Guys, when you have passive activity loss rules, this is what happens. If you're not a real estate professional, you are capped at $30,000. Write that down. You're going to be capped at $30,000. That's why it's important that you go figure out, how can I be a real estate professional? Okay, because you're going to be capped at 30. So that if you capped at $30,000, let me tell you what happens when you're capped at $30,000. When you're capped at $30,000, that means if I had negative $100,000 for my year end, but I'm capped at $25,000 because I'm not a real estate professional, that means that I get to write off $25,000 worth of losses as it pertains to the real estate business. And then the other $75,000 I have to roll over. I don't get the benefit of it. Listen to what I'm saying. I have to roll them over. You don't get the benefit of it. Okay? Because you're limited, you're capped. You don't want to be capped. You want to be a real estate professional. Because as a real estate professional, let me tell you what happens as a real estate professional, guys. And some of you guys in here are real estate investors and you're doing stuff at a high level. And I can guarantee you right now, you're screwing up because you're in a real estate profession. I don't care who you are in here. I don't care if you're knocking it down or doing whatever. If you don't go back and check and make sure with your accountant, hey, what do I need to do to be a real estate professional now? Because you're not getting the full benefit of the business. If you're not. Okay, so if you keep rolling over year after year, remember what I said, if you had 10 properties that gave you $30,000 worth of losses, just like we did in the illustration, that means you're already over. You're only going to be able to claim 25. The other 5, you're rolling over. You don't get to use it. You want to use it. So to use it, you have to be a real estate professional. To be a real estate professional, you have to spend at least 750 hours or better in your real estate business or profession. Write it down. You need 750 hours. as a minimum. You have to materially participate in the business and be active. And there's a bunch of different real estate activities that constitute you being active in the real estate business, okay? You have to spend at least 51% of your time in a real estate service trade or better. So let me tell you something. So what you have to do, guys, you have to spend at least 51% of your time has to be in the real estate activity itself. So what I mean by that, guys, if you work a regular job, it might be hard for you to claim real estate professional status because you're going to have to spend more time working in your real estate business than you do your job. What do I mean by that? You got a job that you work 40 hours a week, 52 weeks a year. That's 2,080 hours a year. That means that to qualify for a real estate professional, you have to spend at least 2,081 hours in real estate. Okay? You have to spend more time. So when you do that and you're working a job and you're trying to be a real estate professional, then the IRS is automatically, you're doing like this, you're jumping up and down, okay? Because basically it's like, come audit me because I need to go check you out because now you're telling me you're working another 2,080 something hours. And you know what I'm gonna say to that? So what? Come get me. If you can do it. Don't listen to me closely. I already gave you the disclaimer. Go out to act the fool if you want to. So you would have to log and journal your time in your real estate activity every day. Okay? You got to keep a journal of your hours worked. So I did this, guys, from 1996 to 2004 before I left my job. I worked and I was a real estate professional. How did you do that? Working. Basically what I did was I said that, okay, my job was 9 to 5. When I got off of my job at 5 o'clock, from 5 right there, I worked 4 hours up to 9 o'clock each and every night, okay? Or more. Work 4 to 5 hours in my real estate business. On Friday, I could work longer. Saturday and Sunday, I worked all day. Saturday and Sunday, I might work 12, 14 hours. So so if I did 40 hours on my job, I still had about 43 or 44 hours working in my real estate business. Now, don't tell me people out here ain't working 80 hours a week because there's a whole bunch of people working 80 hours a week. But the thing I'm telling you is if you try to make that claim, you're going to have to be able to document it. And so you just need to be prepared to document. Okay? We good? Anybody get anything out of that part? I'm telling you, hey. All right.